Hello everyone and welcome back to another Mr. Chris video. Today we're going up against the Super Treasure Map against Saturn using my base teams, using Nami Karina as well as Buggy to dupe drop our mini boss team drops. Now, I'm not going to spoil you guys. If you want to see what I got from my pulls, they were very interesting. I can't believe what I got. Then go check out the previous video before watching this. But I will be using the batch and I'm going to say what I got. I got 2 Luffys and Bonnie. So in this video for the intrusion and final boss, I'll be using them. Not having Sanji is a massive setback because on this intrusion right here, there is damage nullification of 2 turns as well as a barrier. And some people are opting to use Carrot and Wanda, the treasure map legend, to have them solely bypass those defensive effects, which is very bad for damage because she'd be the only one who can deal damage. We don't have Luffy being able to bypass the defensive effects, so Carrot and Wanda alone isn't good enough. If they were a powerhouse unit, I would maybe understand because they would have advantageous class, which they do not. They are a slasher cerebral. And of course, Luffy is going to give you advantageous class effect buff. So if Carrot and Wanda was powerhouse, they would be dealing 4 times more damage. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So I really don't recommend using them. Just use the free-to-play Sanji here. He will remove both of the enemy defensive buffs. So we're just going to tap you on stage 1 to kill. So one thing I noticed is that you really don't need 2 Luffys. Like, 1 Luffy is enough. The only thing that really changes is that you can deal more damage on stage 2. So here, we will be needing to use one of our Luffys on the final stage since there is special bind. Also, Ship needs to be max level 12 for all the turns of despair reduction. Then we can use Bonnie, which you don't need to use at the lower levels, but I'm just doing this for damage showcase. Then we'll use the Nami Karina super swap, gives us G-Orbs. Remember, Nami and Karina's captain ability is much stronger when the characters have G-Orbs, and the super swap makes G-Orbs 2.25x, where normal matching orbs are only 2x. Also gives us an attack boost, which Luffy multiplies by 1.2x. And then we can use Luffy's special to give the orb boost, which will again increase our attack boost up to a 3x, 3.24x, and then the orb boost up to 4.56x. So this is very strong right here. As you'll see, Luffy will shred through Kizaru. Stage 2 there, I hit a miss and we still did 300 million damage. So we can do over 1 billion easily on stage 2 here. And then on the final stage, also we get special rewinded. But since we have 4 more Egghead or Land of Wano tagged characters on the team, we get the special rewind negation from Luffy's captain ability. Now since we have a Luffy on the team, our Sanji will remove those enemy defensive buffs. Luffy of course has a very helpful special there. And I know some people are just opting to hit through that barrier using high combo units like Luffy himself, but that's very, very slow. Now it's essential that we use Kizaru here, not for his own special, but proccing the Kuroma support to get the enemy's defense to 0. You can also use Luffy's advantageous class effect buff from his X Super, which of course also gives us Super Type and Super Class. But for now, it's really not necessary. We can get past the chain minimum attack down very easily. But let's move on to the first mini boss, which is up against Bluegrass. And just a few side things to note is that you really want to be farming this treasure map up to 20 million points. The amount of extra limit break materials you get is absolutely ridiculous. I think you can limit break expand 3 legends with all the materials we get. Maybe if you include the ranking rewards. But you really don't even need a high rank to get all those materials. And you get so many limited legend tickets, which of course includes the Figurine Garling, Garp, Summer Waifu Nami and Yamato Otama, and then also your 11th anniversary Bonnie. So there's a lot of characters that have been added to that legend limited ticket, so I recommend at least farming up to 20 million to get all those buffs. So this is the first one up against the Pacifist Mark III. We are using Buggy here since the enemy has weakness to Driven and is a side boss, so Buggy deals a lot of damage. Regardless, Big Mom is actually our main damage dealer here. Okay, now for this team, we are running 4 Paramythia type characters, Luffy, both Buggies, and then Big Mom, so that we can get access to Big Mom's Driven territory on the final stage. Stage 2 Sasoro. He doesn't need expansion. He has a very low cooldown regardless, and then he'll give us the chain lock for the final stage. Luffy's attack boost doesn't last until the final stage, but we don't need it to anyways. It's very weak. We unfortunately have fortunately, we have a 2x orb boost from Buggy's captain ability. As you can see there, Big Mom is going to give us a conditional attack boost, a color affinity, and also a driven territory. 242 million damage. Buggies will each deal about 50 million, so the team is about 350 to 400 million damage. And of course, we had Flampe to proc the conditional boost from Big Mom. Luckily, the enemy is not immune to defense down. So that team, even if your buggies are both not maxed at all, the team will still deal a lot of damage, more than most people will ever need. So very happy with that, considering how weak Buggy is. Of course, Big Mom has 2.5x stats. She's an int-driven character with type and class advantage, so you definitely want to use her. The only thing is that Luffy, he struggles to wave clear when you don't have the bird. So make sure you do have a stat boosting support on Luffy. If your Luffy is not invested and he doesn't wave clear on stage 1, then honestly just replace it with any wave clearer in the game, and you will lose out on the territory, but it's really not a big deal. It's only essentially a 1.3 to 1.4x increase in your damage, so I really wouldn't worry about it too much if your Luffy does not have enough investment. Okay, so in this team here, the cooldowns are very specific. We need that Roger support on Bonnie. I think if she's expanded, she gets cooldown reduction, in which case you do not need the Roger support. You can also use any other cooldown reducing support. Mr. 3 I think works as well. The waifus I think as well. The strength or int version, either one works. But this is all essential to make sure that our Sengoku is ready with the 2 turns of cooldown from our what's-her-face? Bonnie. We're then going to apply Sengoku to our Nami and Karina. We're going to use up 2 Tandem Orbs to start off the chain. We can ignore the burn and 800 million damage. Very, very good. Nami and Karina has class advantage, type advantage, and of course we got a base attack boost and a G-Orb modifier from their super swap. A few things to note. The ship is required if you're using this setup. But you see, the reason is we get 2 turns of special rewind. The ship not only gives us 2 turns of cooldown, but also resists 1 turn of special rewind, essentially giving Sengoku 3 turns of cooldown. But if you don't have the ship, all it means is that you need to add a cooldown reduction support to your Sengoku. Another option is to use, or if you have the expansion on Sengoku, it also works. You get another turn of cooldown, but I'm pretty sure there's another option when it comes to giving cooldown to Sengoku. So you'd actually, in that case, use someone like Mr. 3 on your Bonnie, and then use Roger on your Sengoku. That gives you another turn of cooldown. So you have 3 options here. If you don't have this -3 cooldown ship, you can use a -2 cooldown ship, any other one, but then you have to use your Roger on your Sengoku, or have Sengoku Limerick expanded. 2 options. Then for the third team up here against Vice Admiral Doll, we aren't using one of every type here, since we are using Toki 5-star form. We are using her 6-star form in the next mini boss. So of course Toki and Sengoku are both great for providing 3.5x and 4x attack and orb boosts respectively, with very easy and quick activation. Toki is even better, of course, because she applies to both, to 2 characters, which in this case will be both of our Kizaru captains, and also allow them to evade essentially every position-specific debuff like Despair, Bind, Blow Away, Silence, Special Bind, etc. So in this case, we are resisting both Blow Away and also Special Bind on our Kizarus. We're using Akainu here, the fastest wave clearer in the game. Then we use Toki on our Borsalinos, who also have 1 orbs thanks to Frankie's Sailor ability. And then Kikunojo and Izo gives us a chain lock for the final stage. We resist Blow Away on our captains. Kizaru Friend Captain would have gotten blown away in the case that you don't have that. You don't need to use any specials for most of the treasure map, but just for showcase purposes, 570 million damage. Over a billion damage with both Kizarus. And that's not including... I was going to say you could add a color affinity support, but Borsellino himself gives that anyways. The reason I'm using Borsellino is his dex. He has advantageous class as well since he's a shooter. And of course he has boosted stats, so he's a great option. He's also a -2 cooldown captain, which is why he's so valuable. He ensures that all of our units have their cooldowns ready. And I'm pretty sure you also need a -2 cooldown ship for that team. I think the buggy team does not need any type of -2 cooldown ship. The one with the German ship, as I said, if you don't have that ship in particular with max mod for the special rewind negation, you can also use any other -2 cooldown ship. Just make sure you have the Roger support on Sengoku and then another cooldown reducer on Bonnie. Now this final team here is a lot slower than what I was hoping for, but this is a very annoying quest because it has probably the most annoying debuffs, or enemy buffs should I say. So stage 1 we're actually using normal attacks to bypass the enemy, which might seem very slow, but honestly it's quite fast. And then on stage 2 we use Arlong Crew to wave clear. You need a -2 cooldown ship. That will give our what's his face, Shanks, 2 turns of cooldown. Zoro will give another 2 turns of cooldown to our Shanks and give us a chain boundary. And then the support of Koshiro will remove most of the enemy's buffs. We use Shanks to buff our attack boost up to about a 5.3x, give us a color affinity of 4x, and remove the enemy's resilience with buggy support. And then we start the chain here, and Shanks deals about 400 million. Zoro will deal basically the same amount of damage, so about an 800 million damage team. Very happy with the speed in that regard, but let's move on to the final boss. So for this one, Buggy actually is not only going to give our main damage dealer an extra 2x damage, but it will also be very important to act as a catalyst to Luffy's Gear 5 Captain ability. I'll explain why in a moment, but do you know the effect in the new Gear 5 Luffy's Captain ability where he states that when you have an attack or orb boost, it buffs it by 1.2x? Well, if I use an attack boost, well, let me just say I use Luffy's orb boost. Also, the ship is not required. Any ship, I recommend one with HP boost, so don't use the whole ship though, so just to be safe. There's a lot of damage reducing effects in this quest, but we have a lot of HP and a lot of damage reduction to get around it. Also, Lucci and Kaku is an amazing captain ability. Make sure you start off in a quick form, otherwise the team will not work as intended. But yeah, so we use Luffy's orb boost from his special for essentially a 4x orb boost. Gets multiplied by 1.2x, but then when Buggy's support activates, it not only buffs Buggy's attack boost by 1.2x, it also buffs the orb boost again by 1.2x. So it's essentially a 1.44x increase in our orb boost from Luffy, which is very powerful. So here we are just going to use one of our Luffys and then the super swap of our Lucci and Kaku. Use a perfect strike to activate the chain to get past the chain minimum attack down. If you don't hit a perfect, it will not go through it. If you don't want to be relying on your tap timing, then you can also use Borsellino's special at that point for a chain boost. On the final stage here, we want to be dealing a damage special so that we can remove Saturn's barrier and orb damage reduction. So Lucci and Kaku will do that. And also provide a chain boundary, which really isn't required. Luffy would provide that anyways. But since we already have that, we don't have to really use Luffy's special at all. We'll use our Bonnie at this point to get rid of the orbs. Give us a damage reduction for the death hit. And also proc Buggy. And that'll buff both the attack and orb boost, which is very nice. At this point, we don't actually have to waste our time activating anything else. 455 million damage without the X super of Luffy, which provides super class, super type, and also an advantageous class effect buff. We could also use our Kizaru for a chain boost going alongside the chain boundary, and then also Sentomaru for a 1250 base attack boost. So both Centomaro and Borsalino are just there for point boost, not required. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about the teams, ask them down below. But with all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, and I'm out. Bye.